From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, AJ Benza. With Gina Grad on news, Bald Brian on sound effects, and Adam takes listener questions in a special Q&A live book signing. And now, Papa's got a brand new book. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. No choice but to get a mandate. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for sharing this show as we head toward our 12th year. Good day, Gina Grad.
Good day to you.
Handball, Brian.
Best way to get over a girl is to get under another one.
AJ Benza.
Here I am.
In studio, he's going to tell us, he's going to get us caught up on Chris D'Elia. He's also the Danny Masterson rape situation. Russell Simmons, what's going on with him? OJ.
A lot of good guys.
OJ may have had help. Howard Stern, is he going to retire? I had my own. I got a little AJ Benza scoop.
Wait a minute. What's up?
Wait a minute.
Can we play is there a thing we need to play for you? Are you? Okay, go right ahead.
We'll play your intro in a second. First, Father's Day. We're taping this on Father's Day, so happy Father's Day, y'all. We can figure out what we all did. Max Pat, if you grab my phone, I took a picture of the two gifts that my son and my daughter got me. And if you want to know the deep differences in the wiring of a man and a woman, you'll be able to tell by these two gifts that were got. Now, and it's also why guys have a lifetime of trying to explain themselves to women, because I can see my son, what he's going to do is, at some point he's going to be celebrating he and his wife's 25th anniversary, and he's going to get her a shoe buffer. And she's going to go, what the fuck? And he's going to go, you love shoes.
Right.
You love shoes.
Sense.
Right.
You want to keep them shiny?
Right. And he's not going to know why she's pissed off the whole time. And I did. I went and saw my dad. My dad at age almost 90 basically just said, I was a pretty bad dad, so let's just take it from here. Let's take it from here. Let's just move forward. Yeah. He literally said, let's have our last 3 or 4 appearances be good ones. And I said, okay.
That's admirable.
Yeah, I'll go along with that.
Is. At least he said that.
Yes,
let's stick the landing.
Yeah, let's stick the landing. So I went and saw the old man today and had a nice visit of, all right, you weren't great. Let's just move it forward, and let's basically have you die in peace.
But you and I are so much alike, except when you talk about your childhood, it is the exact opposite of mine. And that's where it all comes crashing down for me. Like, I feel so bad for you, even though you've obviously done fine. I'm sure Dr. Drew might have helped a few years in a row of talking to him. But it's just amazing how you've, materialized as a good guy.
I think first things first, like I hugging your kids, telling them you love them, telling them good job.
I'm not a big guy about that either.
It's all free, though. Yeah. My whole thing is just free. But I do it. I don't even mean it. I do it. Like, I just realized, just go through your life as if.
Right.
Who knows? Who knows who you are? Just act as if.
Right.
Number one. Number two, it's okay to be screwed up. You just have to know you're screwed up. Like when I was 19, I was like, I'm a mess. I better get to work. And so I was able to salvage a life. We have the number one. I'll show Natalia's gift. She decorated my office door.
Oh, that's very nice.
And it was pretty wonderful. Like, I read all the little Max Pat, what happened to the pictures? I read all the little notes, and all the notes is like, you're a great provider, and you're great. Some of them were digs at her mom, which I liked as well. Like, you're the smart one, you're the rational one, you're the one who listens, you're the nice parent.
Wow.
But they're all.
Does she have? Those little hanging sperm or light bulbs?
Those are tribute to what he provided to her life.
Sure.
Yeah.
She put a note saying, Happy Father's Day, and then she put about 8 or 10 Post-its around it in a circle, which were all the good attributes of being daddy. And I woke up this morning. It was great. She did it last night after I went to bed, and they're all just, you're a great dad and you're a great provider.
I could read some of the smaller ones. They're kind of blurry.
Thank you for
being the most relatable in the family. Thank you for being an amazing role model.
Jesus.
I love you so much. It's 4 a.m., so I'm probably asleep, but when I wake up later, we can hang out.
Yes. So she was totally sweet.
Wow.
And then we'll smash cut to what my son got me for a gift that I think Max Pattis got to yell into the other room for. He got me a Fire TV stick, a 4K Fire Stick from Amazon.
Kid's thinking. I think he's thinking.
He's like, you go on the road, you got your shows, you want to watch your shows on the road.
Right.
It sucks when you're in those hotel rooms and you can't watch your shows. Now you can watch your shows.
You got a perfect balance. Two kids did wonderful things for you.
Right.
How does Lynette feel about that presentation from your daughter? Did she get that on Mother's Day?
No. I didn't read her all the stuff that was on the door about being more relatable.
Yeah, you don't want
It's probably for the best.
take it down.
How many lawns did Sonny mow to buy that Fire Stick?
Yeah.
He just went in my office, opened my sock drawer, grabbed $40 and walked to the fucking Target. Kept it, pocketed the change.
That's nice.
So what'd everyone else do?
I didn't get anything yet. I think when they knew I was going to be gone today doing the show. Last time I was on was Mother's Day, so I come on for holidays, which is nice. So I think when I get back, there'll be something going on. If not, it's okay. I'm not one of those guys who needs like big. What do I need? A fucking shitty tie that I'm never going to wear to some function I'm going to go to?
I hate to be turning into a chick, but it's the thought that counts.
Absolutely.
So once you make enough money and once you have enough shit.
When they give me the cards and write. You know what my son did one time? I can almost cry saying it. We were going through a money issue where we had to leave L.A., go to New York. Horrible. Let's call it homeless, except that I lived with my sister 12 years ago. My son took, birthday money and losing your tooth money and shit, and he put it he put $26 on my night table, and a note said, "Here, Dad, I don't need this."
Wow. How old was he?
7.
Wow.
6. I mean, I couldn't even.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
So I immediately went to Ralph's and started stealing groceries right away.
To celebrate.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, you do anything yet?
So I woke up and Christy had gotten me a bottle of Whistle Pig rye whiskey, which is just lovely, one of my favorites, as well as a little Flaviar, the sampler set for drinks. She got me a little 3-pack of mezcals to try.
Wow.
She's trying to get me drunk.
You're drunk.
Yeah, my daughter, 3 years old, she painted a rock, which is very sweet. That's her. Yeah, one of those big rocks, but she painted it.
That's nice.
But it all pales in comparison to getting the day off. Every turn, Christy was like, "It's Father's Day. I'll make breakfast. It's Father's Day. I'll do it." I was like, "Oh,
Andy did not get so lucky.
Take the fucking whiskey back."
Wow.
Gina?
Last night we did, because we're going to a drive-in movie tonight. So last night, the little chef and I made dinner for Dayed, which is what he calls him, and made homemade amazing salsa, avocado cream, and ranch, and did a burrito night. And this morning, Andy woke up and made us all breakfast because that's what he does, because that's what he enjoys doing. I got him a bunch of presents, at one that the little guy and I have been working on for weeks, which is one of those a book about my dad. And every day, we'll write a couple of pages and put it away and write a couple of pages. And so that got him right in the heartstrings. A couple of shirts, a nice pen he'd been eyeing, and we're going to go to a drive-in movie tonight.
All right. It sounds like there's going to be some sex later on after the drive-in, Gina.
Possibly.
Well, that was last night. I had to do it 2 nights in a row.
Don't throw your back out, baby. Be careful.
Here, kid, you sit in front.
I went to, I got an invite last minute on Saturday from Dennis Quaid.
Wow.
Said he's
nothing.
throwing a block party, lives on a cul-de-sac way up in the hills, and he goes, the band's playing, getting the band out, and we're having a block party.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And I drove over there, and I said, so I go over there. It's at the end of a cul-de-sac in a hill, way up in the hills on the west side. And he's playing the shit out of the keyboards. He's really good on the keyboards. And
Jerry Lee Lewis.
You play Jerry Lee Lewis?
yeah,
There
but
you
he could
go.
really play. And then Robbie Krieger from The Doors is playing lead guitar. And then
Dropped in.
Franklin Vanderbilt, the big brother that we met over at Alan Parsons, who plays for Lenny Kravitz. There's a picture of all of us there. If you look to the right, Lenny Kravitz, that guy's about 6'6", by the way, he's wearing cowboy boots. Lenny Kravitz's drummer is playing the drums. Robbie Krieger's on guitar. I'm like, wow, this is and then they're covering Doors songs, and the Doors songs sound exactly like Doors songs because Robbie Krieger's playing the lead on all of them.
That's not a block party. That's a rock block party.
Rock block party.
Wow. Can Quaid be more ripped? Jesus
Oh my
Christ.
God.
What's up with that?
Hey, what's up with that? He got married 2 days ago to a 26-year-old chick.
I know. He's working hard.
Their whole family's 3% body fat. She's skinnier than he is.
Yeah. Did Randy show up? Probably not.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No one knows where he is.
Yeah, I know.
She walked right up to me and she goes, I got married 2 days ago. I'm his 4th and final wife.
Yeah.
I said,
Because you're going to kill him. That's why.
So she's all of 26.
Oh, my God.
She's a hot blonde. And the entire neighborhood is out on the street partying. They got tequila stands set up. They're cooking hot dogs and hamburgers.
Doing it right.
The whole street, the whole fucking street just piled. The whole group just piled out.
It's out by you?
No, it's up. He's up on the west side.
On the west side? Oh, really? Wow.
Yes,
But I'm sure everyone was wearing their masks and keeping 6 feet apart.
Oh my God!
Jesus,
If you
give me a break.
If you Google in I don't know, rock party or whatever. Dennis Quaid block party or whatever. There's just a throng of people out there. Kids are like playing soccer.
It's like Bel Air or like Westwood or something.
Yeah. It's like West Sidey, kind of Malibu-y, kind of sort of in between Palisades-y. It's kind of off the beaten path. You get way up the hill, but cul-de-sac block party. So they just set up the whole band at the end of the cul-de-sac.
TMZ covered it.
Who did?
TMZ. They said Dennis Quaid threw a block party Saturday, and a legendary musician provided essential backup. Dennis, whose job description can fairly read actor musician, had all the trappings for his Brentwood neighbors. Dennis and his band performed with a special guest, Robbie Krieger from The Doors, played guitar for the blues and rock set. Robbie and Dennis aren't strangers. They've played together before, and Dennis's fiancée, Laura, was cheering with approval from the sidelines.
Okay.
That's what she was doing. She was cheering.
TMZ also writes, the bad news, not a lot of masks or social distancing, and California has seen a big uptick in COVID-19
It's hard to rock with the mask.
Yeah, man. Live it up. Live it up. Hard to
Well,
bob
here's
for
the
apples
thing.
with masks on.
They all, the whole block signed off on it, the whole goddamn street, because everyone is out there with their kids, and they're having a good goddamn time.
Of course.
Later on, spilled into Dennis's house, drank a little tequila, watching TV.
Great day.
It was a great day.
Wasn't part of the party, was anyway.
A great day.
Yeah, and my new buddy Franklin, who's been on Take a Knee out here, who's Lenny Kravitz's drummer, was just hanging out there, just happenstance. So
did you go? Did you go solo, or did the family get to come?
No, I was tooling around the west side with Matt D'Andrea anyway, looking at real estate in Malibu area. So I just said, well, when we're done, we'll just hit you up on the way home, and that we did.
Nice.
So we had a good time. All right, so let's see, AJ, should we get into some of these
let's
stories?
Let's get into all of it. Let's go.
All right,
It's time for Allegedly with AJ Benza. Called that so we don't get sued.
what do you got, AJ?
Jeez, where do you want to start? You want to start?
Well, the
with...
Chris D'Elia thing. So far, I don't know what's going on.
Well, look, it doesn't look good. He's very creepy. And I've never been a fan.
But you're pretty creepy too.
True, but never about young girls. Never in
Uncle
that
AJ.
not that respect at all. No, what I mean by creepy is his comedy to me, and this doesn't matter about this story. I never bought into it. I don't know. People have been telling me you got to delete. It's the best. I don't like the bro dude comedy thing. However, the images you see when you see what he sent on Twitter and DMs to these girls, it's almost like. The way he speaks to them, do you want to get naked and make out? It's like I don't think he knows how to speak to a woman. Like when you do a sitcom with Whitney Cummings, who, listen, you got to fuck Whitney if you're making a show. Whitney Cummings, she's beautiful, right? Beautiful, she's fantastic. Listen.
I haven't read the bylaws in a while.
Most guys would be like, I'm fucking Whitney Cummings. If I'm going to play her significant other, they never did. That's a little weird thing to me. And suddenly... you see him sending these messages out to girls that say things like, let's get naked and make out. He doesn't know how to act around young people. It's very creepy.
Let me just make sure I'm clear on the rules. If I were starring in a sitcom with the late Ted Knight, would I have to fuck him?
You don't have to, but but
what about Ted McGinley?
Maybe Cloris Leachman. I think if you play the significant other of a hot babe on a sitcom with her name, you probably would try to get in there.
You should try. You should at least
when
try.
Whitney says on her podcast, I don't know why you and I never hooked up. Oh, I know why. Because you sensed that there was something creepy about him.
But here's the whole thing. There's creepy and then there's illegal. As long as people are 18 in a day, or as long as people, or as you don't know people are minus a day of 18, then where's the law come in?
The age is arbitrary. There's almost got to be like, you go fishing, you can't put a fluke on your boat that's under 14 inches. There's got to be, I know we have that age of what's permissible in different cities and states and countries, but people are fucking that all up. Like Chris D'Elia and a lot of guys. Jeff Ross is under the gun for being with the 15-year-old when he was 33.
He is?
Jerry, look, I broke the Jerry Seinfeld Shoshana Lonstein story when he was 30-something and she was 17. I don't know what it is with comics. Maybe it goes back to Charlie Chaplin. But there's got to be a thing where, forget her age. You just cannot go after somebody at that level. You can get pussy. Why are you going after that young girl?
Personally,
girls threw themselves at the wheel.
No, but here's what I'm saying. What you're into, it's like there's a lot of different sexual proclivities. Some guys are into guys, some guys are into girls, some guys are into guys and girls.
Right.
Some like MILFs. Right. Now, I would ask with the same consternation, what are you fucking that 47-year-old? You should be fucking a 28-year-old. I'm just as upset as you are when I hear about MILF porn.
I understand.
And disgusted.
I understand.
Disgusted. Do you hear me? These women have C-section scars. You disgust me.
Yeah.
You could be fucking 23-year-old hostesses at Hooters. But what I'm saying is once you turn 18, then it's up to you and your God. That's
I don't know
my
about,
feeling. It can be. It's
and I don't know that
it's creepy to me.
But a lot of it. AJ, you can confirm this. They weren't. A lot of them are saying I was not 18, and he knew that.
Well, that's the thing. She was 16. She was 17.
Then that's something else.
Look, if they're 18 or 19 and you're 30, I don't have an issue with it. I really don't. When I was 35, I had a girlfriend at 19. When I was 29, my girlfriend was 19. Look, Ansel Elgort's getting his feet held to the fire for being 20 and fucking a 17-year-old girl. They're calling him a pedophile. Give me a break. They're kids.
All right, let's talk about. Yes, go ahead.
Can I ask something real quick? When you say when we think why would comics do that? What's the point? The only thing that comes to mind is what's her name? The teacher, the hot sort of, 35-year-old teacher that ends up having sex with the students. Are these the kind of comics that couldn't pull that kind of 16-year-old in high school, and now they're getting that chance? I think a lot of that.
I think that's a lot of it. I think that
Mary Kay Letourneau, maybe
Letourneau, right?
Yeah, Deborah LaFave is up there.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. There's that, and there's also comics are in a kind of arrested state of development. I've told you a million times, half the comics I know are comics because they're funny, and half are ones because they don't want to join society. They don't want an alarm to go off at 7:15 every morning. They don't want to punch a clock. I'll put it to you this way, if you don't believe me. Think about the comics I know, the aforementioned Jeff Ross.
Great guy.
Your Doug Bensons, your Sarah Silvermans of the world, Mark Marons. It goes on and on. Their average age is 52 in 3 months. No children?
Yeah.
Who?
Right.
Who do you know who has no kids
Right.
in their 50s consistently?
Right.
I mean, huge swaths of these guys and girls, no kids.
Listen, you're right.
That's the number one marker for sort of, I don't want to join adult society. I want to do what I want to do. I want to get up, get baked, have brunch, down on Sunset, and go do a set tonight at the comedy show.
And that's why Jim Gaffigan's overcompensating.
That's right.
The Jeff Ross thing is weird because I've been friends with Jeff for a long time, and I remember specifically being out with him when I was in my, my glory days, and he'd be like, "How do you do that? How do you just grab a girl? How do you just get a girl to talk to you?" He couldn't fathom it.
I don't know what's going on with Jeff Ross.
He's the nicest guy in the world.
I love Jeff Ross.
Me too. Loved him for years. 15 and 33.
They're going back to
this chick started.
Did she just come out of the woodwork?
Yeah, she's a little bit fucked up too. Her father was psyched that she was banging a guy on Letterman, so there's that whole thing. But she put an Instagram page up called "I was 15, he was 33." There's only 3 entries, but check it out. She posted her her whole essay she wrote for some NYU class, it's deep.
Oh man,
it's dangerous. It's horrible.
Jesus, any guy out there who's been around long enough and has a few skeletons in the closet, you got to be scared.
Here's what I was saying to you before we went on. I'm on social media a lot. I know you're not into it a lot, but I'm skirting, I'm swimming around, and I'm a 58-year-old fucking idiot. But still, there are women who find you attractive. They have daddy issues. They say things. And you go politely, yeah, honey, listen, I could be your father and then some, but thank you for the compliment. All of a sudden, you turn away, and there's a ping, and it says view photo.
Really?
And you go, well, let me just see what the fuck this looks like. Sure, and then you see, double D cups on how old are you? Oh, I'm 20. Oh, God, you know what? I can't do this.
The point is with many facets of today's technology, we're going to be chasing it legally and spiritually. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to evolve. Our brains aren't going to evolve, and our legislators not going to evolve fast enough to keep up with whatever's next. TikTok, whatever.
It should be called TikTok.
We got a bunch of 70-year-old people making laws who argue over everything and get nothing done. How would we possibly be able to keep up with all this shit? Yeah. All right, let's talk. You talked to the two girls that Danny Masterson alleged of raping.
Masterson has had a rough time for a long time. There's a lot of girls who have alleged rape. The two that I spoke to, Babette Realis and Chrissy Carnell-Bixler, these are girls I really respect because they came out before Me Too. They're not involved in that whole wave of girls who were trying to take down every man. You know what I mean? And they really had their T's crossed and their I's dotted. And going up against Scientology was brutal. They had their dogs killed, part of their property set on fire, being followed. Like, it ran the gamut. Scientology goes to every extreme. But I've heard that Scientology is not going to protect Masterson at this point. I don't think they're going to throw good money after this guy because I think they know from what I've heard that a lot of these allegations are true and there are more behind that. So now that he's fired from the ranch and he's not a money machine anymore, I think Scientology is going to step away and let what happens happen.
Scientology is a good example of when I yell at everyone, stop apologizing to the mob, as we talked about before on the show.
You're a trailblazer.
I got in a lot of trouble with them in the mid 97, 96, 97, and they were sending me scripts to read on the air for Dr. Drew to apologize and this, that, and the other, and people kept saying, they will ruin you. They will ruin you. Just do it. Just apologize, read the script, do what they tell you to do, or they will destroy you. Now, of course, we all know that if everyone just stopped apologizing in 1997 simultaneously at once, there's nothing Scientology could have done, but they didn't. They work. The way they work is they work like a wolf pack. They break off the gazelle and then you chase them down. They're hyenas. Yeah. So if everyone just does everything at once, like everyone just. You take political incorrectness and all this woke shit. If everyone said "fuck you," we're not apologizing simultaneously, then the movement would go away. But if they break you off into pieces, one by one, then everyone apologizes. Then they build their power. So nothing happened to Scientology. They just got outed. People stopped apologizing to them, but I was told they would ruin you.
Listen, I was a journalist back then, and the threats of lawsuits were constant because I wrote about them, but I never gave into it. There were days where they said they're going to be on this corner, they're going to protest this, and I got through it, but they're not going to protect Masterson. He's in trouble. Masterson's in trouble because it goes a lot deeper. And I'll tell you, when they really get into this, it's going to. Ashton Kutcher, not that he's a rapist, but Ashton Kutcher was his buddy, and they had the house in the Hollywood Hills, and a girl would come over, and they'd take her phone away, and she couldn't make a phone call, and her drink was drugged. We're talking about a white Bill Cosby with Danny Masterson.
Wow.
Bad dude.
Russell Simmons, knowing he has a target on his back, has moved to Thailand and is not
Russell
coming
moved
back?
to Thailand after all the Me Too shit just was too much to bear. I go back with Russell many years. He's the perfect example of a guy that had so much power in New York because of hip hop and rap. When everything blew up, Russell was he started most of it. And I remember my ex-girlfriend who was very close to Russell telling me, Russell's got to be careful. He's really pushy with girls. And at the time, it didn't register with me. Like, everybody wants to, Russell gets laid. He's a fucking big dude. He rushed communications. But she's like, no, it's different. He's going to get in trouble. And now you come, 20 some odd years later, and this is what all the girls or some of the girls were saying, that, you invite a girl up to the room for a record contract perhaps, and, maybe you got to do this to get on the air. But he was doing this sort of thing a lot. The big clue was when Oprah Winfrey, I think, she got involved with the HBO thing. Have you seen it?
I know. We were talking about on the air last week that thing dropped on May 27th, the night that all the rioting broke out. And these guys, including everyone in this building, who was pretty much in the demo of HBO, hip hop, whatever, no one had even heard of the movie. I know. That's how you can't skate any more than he skated on that. That was a bomb drop that no one ever lit the fuse.
But he was losing for a year and a half before that, 2 years before that. There was so many detonations before the documentary. He moved way before the documentary landed. I mean, when Oprah Winfrey, the women, if you're Russell Simmons, Oprah Winfrey is your goddess. When she decides to do a documentary on you're a rapist, you're in trouble.
Do you think he ever comes back from Thailand?
No.
He just has all the money in the world. He's going to live it out in Thailand?
Yeah. Russell's got money forever, and he's had money forever for a long time. He always liked Thailand. It's not like it's a new place.
If he lands, does it turn into
a Roman? Andre Harrell's funeral.
Does it stay? Oh, when was that?
3 weeks ago, maybe.
Oh, so it's not. Might it turn into like a Roman Polanski situation?
No, I don't think. No, because I know a lot of the girls that have come forward were paid off. I don't think Russell is going to do time, that sort of thing. But the girls who came forward and had what they had to say, some of them are really full of shit too. There were some girls who, God, there were so many girls who have done business with him since then. After they said, I'm just going to go to court because I want to get paid. I didn't feel like I was treated right by you, but we still have a business together. There's a lot of shit in there. God, when you're wealthy at that age and it's in hip hop and rap, God help those guys, because there's so many creepy people that come into your life who allege rape. Not to say Russell's an angel. He went overboard, over the line many times, but there's some that he didn't need to suffer from.
It just harkened me back to this, and you can tell me why this wouldn't have never worked, but I sat here 2 years ago, year and a half ago, with Mark Garriga sitting where you're sitting, and I'm saying, hey, if I'm Harvey Weinstein, I'm leaving the country.
Right.
I'm just gassing up the Learjet. Yeah. I'm going to France or going somewhere that doesn't have extradition. I'm leaving.
I agree.
And Mark's like, I can't do that. I'm like,
why?
I said, why? He said, he's got his wife, got his girls, he's got his girls over here. I said,
I don't think the wife mattered to him for too long.
Well, he said his family,
all right.
Blah, blah, blah. And I just said, I don't know. The way it's looking, this is 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. Find a country that we don't have an extradition treaty with, and gas up that Learjet and get the fuck out of Denver.
Yeah.
And he was like, he's not going to do that. But I don't know. Should he have? I don't like people skirting the law, obviously. But I'm saying, if I'm him.
I went and had lunch with Roman Polanski in 1997 in Paris. He was happier than the happiest guy in the world. Wonderful. He didn't care about anything that was going on. Harvey would have been the same way. And I bet you he still could have quasi-produced movies because he has the special sauce and the magic potion to make movies a hit without putting his name on shit. But
he would have done it like some mob boss controlled this crime family from the joint, right?
Yeah, I think so. But at the way it stands now, let's not even get into the whole COVID-19 nonsense.
Now he's going to die in prison now.
Of course he is, and soon.
Max Zapata, we got to somehow find that clip from like 2 years ago, not for this second, but me telling Mark, because I sort of meant it. Yeah. We got a clip of Riders on the Storm from the block.
Yeah, Deandra sent me a video.
Deandra.
It's pretty great.
Matt took a little video of Robbie Krieger and Dennis Quaid doing Riders on the Storm.
Like a song without a phone and had to run alone. Riders on the storm.
is not playing the drums in this. He swapped out. The connection's a little bad. You can stop it, Max better, but you get it. Franklin was drumming when I got there, swapped out for a guy, and then came back again. So he wasn't in that clip, but we'll throw it up for you.
The block parties on Long Island never had that kind of quality. You know, we had Twisted Sister play, but not.
All right.
How about Howard Stern's going to probably walk when his serious contract is through in a few months?
I think he will because. Look, this whole blackface thing, it goes deeper with Howard because he's done so many other things. It's not his fault. He did what he did during an era when that was permissible. But now with cancel culture, Jimmy Kimmel's your good buddy. I don't think he's taking the time off to just hang out with his family. I think he's taking time off because the heat's too hot. Did you see Jimmy Fallon's face the other night when the chick who's the author of White Fragility was telling him how bad it is what he did? He looked... It was
I didn't even see that.
It was so miserable. There's Jimmy in his room with no windows, just looking like, okay. Like he's talking to the fucking principal at 40-something years old. He's not going to want to have his job soon either. Who needs this shit? Once you got money forever, why do you need this?
I gotta tell you, I've always thought about this, and I think we've all known about and talked about, which is we talked about it in terms of politics a few years ago. Like, you're going to take a lot of good men and women and have them go, fuck you very much. I'm not going to put my family through this thing. I'm not going to be called. I'm not going to have people from high school say I raped them in the gym in 1971. You know, like, I don't want to put my family through it. I don't want to go through it. Like, now it's going to kind of be the same thing. I mean, reality stars are always going to be there, but a lot of folks who are really talented, creative folks, they're not going to want to. Who wants to host a late night show? Who wants to host a syndicated show or that show? It's like a lot of them are just going to go, fuck it. I'm gonna paint.
And the scary thing is now it's entered the podcast world. Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz mentioned something about how female comics, when they wanted to earn a spot, a good time on stage, maybe they'd give them a head. And Rogan laughed 7 years ago. That's been brought to the forefront now. So
yeah, well, it'll go everywhere.
Of course.
Yeah, Gina.
A question about that, though. When and it's funny because I know that they at least were friends back in the day. And AJ, you might have some extra insight. When I think about Howard Stern, wouldn't he get a pass the way that Trump gets a pass? It's Howard Stern. Yeah. This is why we know who Howard Stern is.
I'm not saying that I want Howard to go down at all. I'm just saying that
I know.
I love Howard, and I love the president as the president. I don't want to be gay about it. But look, you got to be consistent. If Joe Biden can caress little girls' hair and smell their fucking mouth and nothing happens to him, and Howard Stern can wear blackface and Jimmy Kimmel can do this, you got to be consistent. There's got to be some kind of order around it. So if you want to give Howard a pass, because we all loved Howard, that's one thing. But you got to at least address it.
That's kind of what I mean. The way the special sauce of the president being able to just say whatever he wants, do whatever he wants, and everyone cheers it on. And it's like, okay, cool. So we're doing that now, but we're not doing that now. And you would think that Howard Stern, of all people, would be someone who's like, this is why we know who he is. He's not part of cancel culture. He's not in that realm.
Well, I'll tell you, knowing Howard, this hurts him a lot. That's why I think he won't be around when the contract's up, because I know that he's a really good guy. He's a great father. I know this stuff affects him because off mic, he's not like this. And that's why he changed his whole show, because he can't stand to look at him and listen to his old shows and see what he did. So it hurts doubly. It hurts doubly much. Is that a phrase? Yeah. Twice as hard, because he knows that wasn't the guy he wanted to be, but that's who he was. And,
the Gina Stern Trump connection or analogy, I don't think Trump gets a free pass at all. Everyone hates him. Right. He just doesn't care.
But he's electable.
We'll see. But I mean, that's not like he says something and everyone goes, oh, that's great. They go, he's an asshole.
He's an asshole, right.
Yeah, but he's an asshole that is the leader of the free world. Half the country gives him a pass. Half the country doesn't like it. But he's not canceled in any way, shape, or form.
He's as close as you get to cancel without being canceled. The guy's fucking hated.
He's the president.
I know, but they can't. They tried to impeach him. It didn't work. They've been trying for 3.5 years to get rid of him. Well,
AJ,
the next thing is just shoot him.
I think AJ just made Gina's point.
What's that?
They tried to impeach him. It didn't work.
Can't be done.
Right. They've been doing everything
No,
except shoot the guy.
The only part my only quarrel with Gina's point is it's not like he says whatever he wants and everyone cheers him. He says whatever he wants and half the nation hates him and the other half likes him.
Same with Howard Stern.
I love Howard.
No, Howard doesn't have that
Howard
batting.
doesn't have
He doesn't
yeah.
have that bag. You can't have. Are you kidding? I turned on CNN
Back in the
today.
day?
I watched for half an hour of just Trump's a douche.
No, it's not.
It's nonstop.
Yeah, it
I mean,
doesn't stop.
you
Right,
couldn't.
but
I
think
couldn't
about,
deal with that.
What was it, 25 years ago when Howard was the king. He was the king of all media, and everyone listened because everybody wanted to know what he was going to say.
Here's the deal, as far as I can tell. It's a ratio. It's a ratio thing. If 10% of society is calling you a douchebag and an asshole and a racist and a homophobic or whatever, if it's 10%, that's a lot. I mean, like I get called all those things, but I'm lower than 10%. If it
Not
ever
33 million people.
If it ever starts getting close to 30 or 40%, that's nervous breakdown. Period. And Stern is a genuine and sensitive guy, off the air.
Yeah.
And 5% to him is going to feel
God.
like a lot.
Howard can't
Trump
take it.
can take 53% and be fine.
There's nobody like him.
That's the
There's
difference.
Nobody like him to take the amount of shit.
Right. And Jimmy's sensitive too. Jimmy's that guy as well. So if you get, by the way, 10% when you go online, that's terrible. That's a lot of people. So I think of it more as like a percentage breakdown ratio.
Like, for instance, really quick, they show a picture of him online after his, I don't know how you feel, but like we have conservatives have not been on offense for a long time because of the pandemic, the lockdown. So Trump does his Tulsa thing, and it's finally like, God, that was a horrible inning. The other team scored 14 runs. Now we're coming to the bat. Trump does his thing in front of 7,000 people. It was supposed to be 100,000. And they just destroy him. He didn't get anybody. No one showed up. And Judd Apatow shows a picture of some one lonely creep in the upper rafters holding a sign, "Make America Great Again." Meanwhile, Biden's got 6 people around his fucking basement. And it's like, you see what a loser Trump is? You can't get through to these motherfuckers. He's not a loser. He's just about to start his offensive attack.
Well, look.
AJ, that was a private event for Philadelphia business owners or business.
You know what? I got Brian. A private event for Trump business owners would have been fucking jam packed. Not 6 people 7 feet apart. No way.
That might be true, but that's not a good example.
No, okay, it's not the whole stadium comparison.
I didn't even know what the Biden thing was.
Biden looks ridiculous with the fucking crooked mask in the basement. Even his appeal for money starts out, "I'd like to ask you for a question." What? Can somebody say cut and do it again? His whole thing, I don't think he's even going to be there when they get down to the election. I think he's going to walk away and someone's going to be put to the front.
Well,
Trump is begging him to do a town hall or a debate with him.
Oh my God!
You'd be destroyed.
It's not even fair.
now Trump is turning into a stand-up comedian.
There it is.
He's
doing an act.
His rallies are a stand-up show. All right.
So something Gina said reminded me of a scene. I sent it to Chris. Hopefully you got the link. A scene from Private Parts. And Gina alleged, back in the day, people hated him as much as they liked him. And I remember the scene where they're going over the ratings and Paul Giamatti is incensed. Like, how do people listen? And it turns out that half the people are more listen because they hate him and they want to hear what they'll do next.
That was pig vomit.
I don't know how much that's drawn from exact real life, but you have to imagine it.
It's so funny. I was just quoting that scene because
oh really?
When I took over for Howard Stern, Baby Doll Dixon said to me, "Hey, Howard Stern, the people who hated him listened to him longer than the people who liked him." And I said, "That's from the movie, Baby Doll.
No, it's not true.
People who hate Tom Likas don't listen to him more than the people that like, the people who hate Dennis Prager don't listen to him more." It was a good scene in a movie, but
I've been next to both of you. I consider myself very fortunate for that, and there's no comparison about what people think about you and your style and what they thought about Howard. They loved Howard, but there were people who vehemently hated him.
Well, I think here's what, as long as we're drilling down on the minutia here. in the past, the people that hated Howard Stern were the evangelicals and the soccer moms and the pearl clutchers and those folks, you know what I mean? Tipper Gore types who wanted to put warning albums on 2 Live Crew records and things like that. Right. And I can tell you as a personality, when those types are like writing letters or calling you Satan, it doesn't mean anything. They're crazy, religious. Yeah. They're
their angle.
They're comic book characters in your mind.
Yeah.
The problem that we're talking about with Stern is in the blackface. Those are your own now. This is what's going on with the movement. It's your own starting to come after you. You can't go to cocktail parties with your own friends anymore. Stern wasn't going to go to any cocktail parties with any crazy right to life or evangelical, whatever. And we've all, anyone's had a career has always real. Look, it's the same with Scientologists. Scientologists hated me. I looked at them as a bunch of wackos. Yeah. You know, but that's not the same as your contemporaries. You know, and folks who were fans, and now all of a sudden they're coming after you.
Howard's new friends for the last, 6-7 years are all Hollywood liberals who've come to love him and go do his show, and they have anointed him. And now, how does it look for them to have their king in blackface when they're canceling everybody else?
Right. So I think that's the difference. The religious nut job part, or the old people that, you know, your mom's friends who don't think you're funny because they think you're vulgar or something like that. Right. It's when the people you respect are the people that are sort of in your own group, which is what's going on universally. Start coming after you, then it's tough.
Yes.
All right, let's take ourselves a break, and then we'll come back and do... Oh, AJ, outro, sorry.
Outro.
That was Allegedly with AJ Benza. Called that so we don't get sued. All views and opinions expressed in this segment are lightly researched and or complete conjecture based on hearsay and rumor from loose connections within the entertainment industry. There is no concrete way to prove that any of the claims made by AJ are in fact accurate and not libelous or defamatory. But again, we remind any legal representation who may be listening that the view and opinions expressed belong to AJ and only AJ, host of Fame is a Bitch, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
All right, quick break. Come back with the news and Gina Grad right after this.
News with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking viral. All those crazy Trump tweets. Give me news with Gina Grad. Trouble in the Middle East. Celebrity drunk meltdowns. Need news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, just to touch on it a little bit more, because it was truly the big news over the weekend. So we all know there was a Trump rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Big headlines over the weekend. And when looking at some of the emptier shots from the arena, after he said there was going to be 1 million RSVPs now, and AJ, I'd love to know if you have any insight on this. The rumor is, and that's truly all I think we can call it at this point, is speaking of TikTok, the rumor is that basic youngish people, I don't know, teens, zennials, whatever, coordinated this effort to just gather up all of the free tickets they could online for the event and just not show up. So just to kind of troll
I heard
him.
That. I heard
which
that.
Which in a way, I would embrace if I were the White House, because the White House, of course, is saying absolutely not. The media is making that up and it's BS. But that's a more satisfying answer than just nobody wants to come to my rally.
Look, if you're the New England Patriots and people are taping your practice sessions, it's good. They know that you've got what it takes. You got the special sauce. There's a lot of factors. It's a fucking pandemic. People can watch the rally on TV. His base is not 28 to 41. It's a little bit older.
Older than the Dalia demo?
I would say. So I watched it at home. I mean, if I lived 2 hours away, I don't think I'd go either. But I liked what I saw.
The TikTok.
The Patriots were the one who were always taping other teams.
Oh, is that right? I fucked that
Yeah, they were the ones who got busted on multiple occasions.
They are the cheaters. Right. You're right.
That's how they got excellent, Brian.
You're right.
I agree with Gina. If this is viable, then do it. It's like David Hasselhoff always had his big pay-per-view music special from Strudeldorf the day the stray let me hop in your car. And at the day the OJ slow speed chase, right? And he always just blamed it on OJ and the slow.
God damn it.
Now, pay-per-views are probably purchased, a week in advance. It's probably not all like a spontaneous buy.
He was banking on the walk-up crowd.
Right.
Yeah, man. But I got to tell you.
But so I'd go with this, too. I'd go, these TikTok guys.
And Brian, you're right. It was an act. He's got bits. He did what Eminem did on 8 Mile, where you make fun of your own crew and say, yeah, this guy isn't Uncle Tom, and this guy did shoot himself in the balls. He did that with his own. They say I've got Parkinson's. They say I can't drink water. They say he's taking steam out of what he knows is going to happen. I got a kick out of it. I think it was fun.
That's to what AJ's referring to. Yeah, not only did he devote a good chunk of time to why it was tough walking down a ramp, but he also wanted to make sure everybody knew under no uncertain circumstances he can drink water with one hand, and the crowd goes wild. Check this out. And they love seeing him drink the water, and then cheers crowd, and then takes another sip, but wait for it, tosses it, and they go.
Take that water.
So that got a big applause break. And by the way, I have to throw this in, and it's still up. So quick plug. Patton Oswalt, God bless him, it keeps retweeting him. So that's why it was such a big deal. But my fiance, Andy, did the entire 2-hour speech in live time with an earpiece as Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars.
Oh my God.
So if you didn't want to hear
yes.
Trump say it, you're more than welcome to hear the Andy Harris say it on Twitter. It's an hour and 50 minutes.
Oh my God.
I'm proud to say I don't know what Emperor Palpatine
I don't
sounds like.
That's why I didn't bring a clip, because it would mean nothing to you. That's why I texted Brian. So the last thing that was sort of interesting about this, that the news media, of course, is picking up on both sides with two very different perspectives.
Palpatine sounds like a laxative for ladies. You know what I mean? Like, this is the laxative for the women. They do like for the gentler, for the woman's digestive system. It's not a man's.
For that little pouch, for that little bulge that you may hear.
When your force is not so fresh.
Yeah, and they show.
Some listener mock up a bottle of Palpatine with shooting lightning out of his fingers.
At the very least, a mouthwash.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Sorry,
so
Gina.
The other big thing that the people are still sort of holding on to, like a dog with a bone, is a joke ? He made about, and one side said it was a joke, one side said it was an admission about slowing down and withholding coronavirus testing. Here's the clip.
Here's the bad part. When you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people, you're going to find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please. They test and they test. We got tests that people don't know what's going on. We got tests. We got another one over here.
That joke killed.
Literally.
Yeah, well, I know what he means.
What he does is I've seen him do this a bunch. He has his point.
It's way off book.
And then he goes on. Then he goes on to what he thinks is his sidebar tangent. And then,
but as a comic, you're on stage. You know what you're going to do. You have it in your head. You know how far you can go away, how far you can stray. But he is like beyond. Like he's in the parking lot in the highway, away from where he's got to get back to the joke, right? You know what
I mean, obviously he's not a skilled stand-up comedian, but he's starting to get good on his feet, and he's working the look. Here's what's happening. What's happening is when you see a eulogy, anyone, we've all been to events and see you put a mic in someone's hand.
Yeah.
You put a captive audience in front of them, and before you know it, some jokes are coming out.
Right.
It's a natural default setting. Right. It works. And then Hall of Fame inductions, eulogizing. Yeah. You take a rabbi and have him marry a couple. A fucking rabbi doing a marriage. That's a 20-minute. That's a stand-up routine. Yeah. So it's like most of the time with most guys, especially if you're like New York guy like he is, you put the mic in the hand, the best man speech or whatever. They start turning into a comedy routine. He's starting to turn into a stand-up.
I said 3 years ago
comedian.
He needs to hire a comedy writer, because I think if he'd done that 3 years ago, a lot of things he said would be so much more to the point and actually funny instead of, okay, dial it back, Donald. You're way off.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Maybe you can do a few jokes for Donald Trump.
Yeah, that was the big weekend. the other story that evolved over the last 48 hours was DL Hughley. Two different headlines. The first headline was DL Hughley passes out on stage at Zanies in Nashville, by the way.
Yeah.
And I had a clip of that, but you can see it. He does start to kind of not make sense, and then you'll see him tip a little bit and someone come and grab him. So it's about 30 seconds.
So I was on stage last week at Zanies, telling AJ.
This very spot.
Very spot. Standing.
Remember everyone wanted to get rid of Mexicans to call it, they were immigrants.
This guy knows. This guy knows. Yeah, this guy knows right there. Who is that guy?
He was quick on the spot.
But he didn't hold him too well.
No, he didn't do a good job. But hey, I was at Zanies last week. That guy was fucking a waitress in the bathroom while I was doing my set. He wasn't looking out for my personal well-being. I recognize that guy.
Man, white lives matter. Black lives matter.
A couple things. I was watching this thing. I was like, I was just on stage at Zanies. I don't know where my spotter was. Where was my spotter?
That's what I'm saying. Who is that guy, and do you all have one?
Because DL was like sitting down, and he started to slur his words a little, but it took all of 7 seconds for that guy to hit the stage. Like, that could have been part of the act. I don't know. He's seeing something in his eyes. I don't know.
It's almost like he knew his act, or he knew him, because he just responded pretty quickly.
Right.
Yeah. So then DL Hughley put up this long Instagram post, but I'll just sort of boil it down for you. He said that he did a battery of tests. They say it was exhaustion and dehydration. He said he was very dehydrated. And by the way, he's positive for COVID-19.
Yeah.
So he said he's quarantining in his hotel room for 2 weeks after he leaves the hospital. And that's his situation. Now, how those are related, who knows? He made it sound like I was completely asymptomatic. This is a total shock. So he doesn't feel that those two things were related. But, by the way, I'm also positive.
I'd like to know he's a black guy in his 50s, probably has some sort of autoimmune situation, blood thing, artery thing. They all do.
They all do?
A lot of black guys have a blood thing and they just do. It's a lupus situation in their family, and trust me, look into DL Hughley's medical history. I bet there's something in him that you go, he fits the...
Well, he seemed in good shape. And when I hear dehydration,
why?
That sounds
why? There's water everywhere.
It sounds weird.
Did you run there?
Well, exhaustion always seems weird too. Like
exhaustion is a word.
Starlets are always going to rehab for exhaustion.
Yeah, I don't like using those words because who's exhausted? You fucking take a plane there, you get a glass of water, you do your show.
I listen. I get it. I've been on that hamster wheel travel and drinking a little too much on the plane, and I get it.
Is that exhaustion?
Not for me, but who knows? But the point is he's okay. A lot of people are speculating that I set the comedy bar so high the week before that he had to struggle so hard to try to clear the bar that I'd set. That's what the exhaustion came
dangerous.
from. You go in a week after Carolla.
You can't.
Slays them?
Can't do that.
Are you kidding me? That's like
the gentleman.
Go ahead. I was gonna say it's like, hey, Ron Jeremy was your last boyfriend. I'm the new kid in town.
You can't come in after
you can't
12
do that.
inches of hard manhood.
That's
and then
right.
I come in.
The guy off stage. Sorry.
Was he seated in the front row? Was he hovering? Could we tell from the footage? I didn't know what to look for.
It looks like maybe a manager.
There's a door.
But I'm sure we could find out.
So there's a door right off the stage. Just another right out of the shot that we're looking at, there's a door to the right. And sometimes the manager, the owner, he just would stand by the door. I kind of noticed him just standing by the door, sort of enjoying the show. So I think that's
he was right.
That's what we're seeing.
Very good.
Yeah, my hunch is that guy's he's on the payroll. DL Hughley, he knows him obviously, and he knows what to look for.
Yeah,
like
me too. I think so.
The word salad that was coming out of his mouth, and when he started to teeter-totter, he was on the stage.
Because it sounded like a stroke.
He'd probably seen a few comedians in his day, get up there in less than perfect shape. And
Well, that was, and AJ, you're absolutely right, because that was the first report over the weekend that it looked like he had a stroke on stage.
Yeah.
And then TMZ and everyone said, here's his own Instagram post.
I saw that.
And
I watched him say it.
I'm dehydrated.
And you know what?
Coronavirus.
He looked scared. I'm not making fun because it's petrifying. He looked scared when he said, I'm positive for COVID, and he thanked everybody for their well wishes, and he said a little more wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
He's scared.
All right, next story.
Well, we have just a whole section of take this statue down, get rid of this, rename this, and we have to do it. It's just there's some of them are too good. Yeah. So these two are my favorite. And I think Brian might get himself onto change.org immediately after I say this.
Oh, no.
There is a city, we're all familiar with Columbus, Ohio, and they have vowed to bring down its statue of Christopher Columbus, but thousands are hoping to erase the city's connection to Columbus completely. One hero, one brave man has a suggestion to honor a native from Columbus and rename the town to Flavortown. For Guy Fieri.
Oh, Jesus.
For Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri.
City Hall. So Columbus Mayor Andrew Ginther announced earlier this week that the statue outside City Hall would be removed and placed in storage. But for this guy, Tyler Woodbridge, who spent over 7 years of his life in Columbus, he said that's not enough. He's 32. He started a petition to rename the city Flavortown in honor of Fieri. Woodbridge described Fieri as a charitable man, pointing out the fact that he's helped, how many restaurants and $20 million in charity for these restaurant workers. He's done apparently more than 100 LGBTQ weddings. He's a pillar of the community. We should rename Columbus, Ohio to Flavortown, Ohio.
You know what this country is reminding me of?
Kill me.
When you guys remember junior high, after you're done taking whatever standardized testing or finals or anything, and there was like 3 days left before school was officially out, and now everyone had officially graduated, but you're still there for like 3 days, but there was nothing else to do. And like if Mrs. Stinkface, the hall monitor, wanted to know where your pass was, you'd be like, "Fuck off, cunt! I'm going to high school." You know what I mean? I'll tell everyone to kiss my ass. By the way, the grades are already moving ahead to the next high school. No one's got any authority over me. I'll go shit outside the toilet in the bathroom. I don't care. I'll do whatever I want for the next, and I'll throw the papers up in the air when I'm running "School's Out for Summer" by Alice Cooper. It's going to be pumping in the background. That's how we are in this country right now. That we're in it, but we're just kind of doing whatever we want. There's no real rules, and it's like, I'm watching the news the other night. They're pulling down a giant bronze statue. It's like, oh, the cops are over there. These guys got ropes and skateboards. They're pulling a 9-foot solid bronze statue on top of. I mean, by the way, they could be crushed.
Well, one guy was crushed. One guy busted his head open.
You understand? You want to put a fucking patio on in your house in Glendale. You got to go pull a fucking permit because it's not safe for you to do whatever. The cops are over here. The kids got ropes around this thing like the Lilliputians, They're fucking Gulliver's Travels. They're pulling the guy down. They're cheering. Once the statue makes it to the ground, they're squirting lighter fluid all over it. They're saying the cops are over there.
Yeah.
They're just standing there watching them. Guys are lighting cigarettes like through their masks. From the fire they're burning on. I mean, you go to the beach, you light a fucking sparkler in Santa Monica, you get arrested. What the fuck is going on?
It's
this whole point where it's like, well, the cops don't want to agitate anybody. Well, let me tell you something. They got the message. The cops ain't doing shit. And look, say whatever you want about the statues. What they're doing is insanely dangerous. And we would never let anybody. Again, you can't bring a bottle to the ballpark. It's too dangerous. You can't have your dog off a leash at the park. It's too dangerous. You know, everything is too dangerous. You can't drive to the corner without putting your seatbelt on. You're going to get a ticket. The drunken, crazed mob pulling down bronze statues with fucking ropes, and the cops are just standing there and then lighting them on fire. You're just squirting lighter fluid everywhere. Guys wearing flip-flops, like throwing matches at it. And then guys like dropping packs of firecrackers and throwing it on. I mean, And the cops are just like
right
over there.
Because they
Max
don't wanna,
Patty, you got to find that footage of them. It's a bronze statue. I was watching.
I think it was it Cicero, the statue of Cicero, maybe?
It was a bearded, probably a Civil War guy, but they pulled it down and they lit it on fire.
Well, Teddy Roosevelt's coming down outside the Museum of Natural History. That's coming down.
Yep. That's also correct.
You know, I want to
There's
try.
one more that might shock
Go
you.
ahead.
No.
Who? Tell me. I mean, who else? Can the Obama's fucking statue come down, wherever that is? Can we get that one down?
No.
In a million years, you wouldn't guess this. And the only reason you would is because I just said that.
Who is it?
The mayor of, I believe it's pronounced Leicester in England, has responded to another Change.org petition calling for the removal of Gandhi. The petition has gathered over 6,000 signatures, called the famous nonviolent protester a fascist, a racist, and a sexual predator. A similar push in Manchester called for a Gandhi statue to be removed. He's due to his, quote, well-documented anti-black racism.
I want to say this. If Gandhi's coming on to you sexually, no means no. You could flick that guy off.
You can take Gandhi.
If you got just like a dish towel snapped at his ass, he'd go running the other direction. No means no, Gandhi.
Did Gandhi overpower any chick? Yeah, he was so very.
And even if he was a muscular guy, he's nonviolent. So
he wore that fucking towel, though. That's the thing. You have that frock he wore, which is very easily removed, and he could have exposed himself like Chris D'Elia. What do I know?
Here's the thing. There needs to be a kind of a simple set of rules here, which is everybody. There's an interesting biblical passage, which is like, as I told you guys, that Noah was a good man by his generation, or according to his generation. So what they do is they grandfather you in. They go by the times. He was a good. None of us are going to be good by our times because we're meat eaters.
You're right.
You eat meat.
Yep.
50 years from now, we'll be murderers because we had Salisbury steak. Right. But by our time, we're considered good people. Right. So first things first, we can only go by the generation that you're in. You can be bad in your generation, but you can be good.
I look at Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle. He was the greatest. Like, he was the greatest baseball player. But
I'm fine with Pete. But here's my point. You get a statue after you for a few things. You don't, if you're a lech, but we do the statue because you won World War II for us, then that's what the statue represents, not you chasing skirts.
Right.
It represents you winning or helping win World War II. The statue, that's the whole thing. Everyone. Now, look, you can't make a statue of Hitler because Hitler's number one thing was exterminating Jews.
No,
but
it doesn't work.
If your first thing is winning wars and liberating nations or whatever, and your second thing is banging your secretary, then will the statue be to the first thing?
You know what? This whole thing began when they tried to change the statue of the three soldiers or four soldiers raising the flag at Iwo Jima to let's put a black and an Asian in there, but they weren't there. Well, let's just get them in that statue. It's going to look better down the road. But they weren't in those. They didn't lift the flag. I know, but it's just we're here now.
I like statues that are bronze because it's hard to even tell the ethnicity of the.
There's a statue in Beverly Hills that I've said for years. It's a very pedophilic statue. There's like a man with a little boy next to him. Every time I drive by, I go,
on the lawn?
Yeah, I go, that's not his son.
On Sunset.
Yeah, I don't like that statue. Let's get that one down.
Not his son.
And listen, while we're on the subject, I want to take fucking Chef Boyardee as an Italian man. Chef Boyardee and Mama Celeste, get them out of the fucking supermarkets. Olive Garden, burn them down because no Italians eat there. How far are we going to go with this?
Hey.
Mama Michelina, the frozen dinners.
Get rid of her.
That statue's right on Sunset before the Playboy Mansion.
So really weird on the left. Very weird.
Well, it's on the left, depending on which way you're going.
I'm going toward the mansion, I believe.
Yeah, it's on the left.
I don't like it.
We have the statue of, it's General Pike. I don't know who General Pike is.
General Albert Pike.
It looks like an asshole, I got to be honest with you.
And it's a 50-second video.
They pulled.
Wow, one rope?
One rope. I mean, that thing's bronze. It's up 20 feet in the air.
What is that about? Is that 2 tons, you think?
I don't know if it's solid. I don't know how it works. But
it's at least 1,000 pounds.
Look, it's got a big.
Why did it go that way?
I think they just cut the angle. But the point is in a world of safety, the cops should just intervene just in the name of fucking safety. Then they start squirting it with lighter fluid.
Look at this.
And then they light it on fire, and they're just squirting it. But at some point, guys are like trying to light their cigarettes, and the cops are just standing by.
My buddy's a cop in New York, and he plays me the transmissions from cops and the desk, and they don't want to get involved. Like, there's gang shooting. Let them shoot. Let them, just leave them alone. Let them take each other out. They don't want to respond to these things anymore because there's no upside.
Guy who caught DL Hughley on the side of the stage is his own paid security.
I knew it. I knew he knew something.
I still want to know why DL Hughley's security wasn't there.
Crystal brain.
Yeah. No, my guy wasn't there.
You got to get one now.
Adam, question for you. I'm totally down with your notion that this statue is up for this thing, winning a war or whatever it is, this great thing you accomplished, and there may be some skeletons in your closet, whatever, you end up being a great guy, but the statue is up for this great thing. Does your opinion change when it comes to Confederate statues?
I think so, because I don't know what we're celebrating.
I agree.
Just now,
in general, my feeling is there's always bigger fish to fry, so let's just go build another school or whatever. Like, let sleeping dogs lie. But I don't have the same, obviously, Confederate generals versus George Washington. I have much different feelings on those types, and stay away from Bob's Big Boys and Fonzie in Milwaukee, by the way.
I can't mess with that.
And Fonzie's right off the river, so he could easily make it into the river.
That's nothing.
And and he's undersized. Henry Winkler's not a big man.
No,
this is smaller than even.
It's a
than
5'6" statue. You can take
3 angry TikTok teenage broads could throw this thing right into the drink.
Absolutely.
Henry, watch what you say, my friend. Choose your words carefully. You're next.
He's going to be sleeping with the fishes in about a year. Yeah, that's bad.
Speaking of all this hot statue talk, I don't know if you guys saw this clip, but it has gone viral again just over the weekend. I'm sorry, I don't have the gentleman's name off the top of my head, but it's been shared many times. There's
Rocky Balboa.
Yes. There's a council meeting in, I believe, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And it looks like they're doing like a city like town hall to basically say why they want to get rid of a Robert E. Lee statue. And everyone's been going up one at a time and giving their thing. This dude gets up and straight up calls out Connie, one of the women sitting on the board, and he is phenomenal. And I shouted over to Kaylin. So you got to see this guy's speech just off the top of his head about this woman who's sitting on the council. This is great.
So I had intended to get up here and talk about how racist Robert E. Lee was, but I'm going to talk about you, Connie. Sitting over there shopping while we talking about Robert E. Lee. This is a picture of you shopping while we talking about racism and history in this country. Only white members of this board got up while we were up here talking too, because you don't give a damn. And it's clear. But I'm going to tell you what the slaves, my ancestors, said about Robert E. Lee, since you don't know history, sister. Let me tell you that they said when he got the plantation, after he got off the field where 27,000 people died at Gettysburg, Connie, Robert E. Lee was a brutal slave master. Not only did when he whooped the slaves, he said, lay it on them hard. Oh. After he said, lay it on them hard, he said, put brine on them so it'll burn them. That's what Robert E. Lee did. And you set your arrogant self in here and sit on there shopping while the pain and the hurt of the people of this community is on display, because you don't give a damn and you should resign. You should have resigned 2 years ago when you choked a white man in his house. You should have resigned 2 weeks ago when you got on TV
I don't know
and
what
said
that
foolishness. And you should walk out of here and resign and never come back, because you are the example of racism in this community.
I love
you. You are horrible.
And she's out.
She's
like, the rest of the board.
She's like, I just bought an air purifier. What were you saying?
His name is Gary Chambers Jr.
I love DL Hughley like a brother, but he should have half the energy and half the spirit, and the passion
that
this
guy's not
young brother.
exhausted. He's not dehydrated at all. He's
no.
You know what it is? Listen,
he took a picture of her shopping.
I love this guy.
Well, that was a bad move on our part.
You know what I'm going to do now? I'm just going to pull my phone out all the time, and I'm just going to go, I got a picture of
Just
you
say it. Just say it.
strangling a black man.
What?
All right, huh?
And they believe you.
Okay,
No, wait a
now
minute.
let me
No,
finish.
let me finish.
I'm just going to hold it. I'm just going to hold my phone's going to be off, and I'm going to just
Let's talk about that
I'm going to say
7-year-old boy.
horrible things about what
Yeah.
I got to picture you holding a puppy underwater. Okay, let me finish my point. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a styrofoam phone that's not even hooked up to anything. I'm going to hold it on my head, and I'm going to preface every point I make with "I got to picture you," and I'll just say something horrible.
We're all going down. We're all going down eventually.
Strangling a
Everybody.
white man.
That was a little scary.
That was bizarre. I don't know what the story is behind that. There's some video footage of her strangling this kid.
I think the moral of the story is never attend a town hall or any kind of meeting, even if you're in the town. You know, if you're actually a representative, roll an ankle on your way up the stairs, like whatever it is. He's icing himself down. He's in the lobby. You can't get into that situation. The best case scenario, you're bored off your ass for 2.5 hours. That is the best. Like guys going, excuse me, guys who don't have the mic. I'm a veteran. I know. I haven't been a veteran in the Korean campaign. He's got a bunch of buttons on his hat. That guy with the vest and the buttons.
Little limp.
But the worst is that guy takes a picture of you shopping and then hits it
When
with both
I
barrels.
was first a journalist in the mid '80s, one of the first things I did was cover town halls. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You meet the people who show up every week to complain about a flower bed on the corner of Washington and Garden Grove.
I watched the Santa Monica ones.
Display, they go bananas.
First things first, it's a self-selecting group. It's like the in-studio audience of The View. Of course they're unemployable dingbats. It's fucking noon. I mean, if they had jobs, they wouldn't be there. So you got that guy. He's a disabled veteran, the Korean conflict. He's got the vest with all the buttons of it, all the units he was in. It's 1207. It's in Santa Monica. He has an issue with an awning. There's a business. They've opened an awning. The awning extends 14 inches further. He's reading the code for awning. And of course, and those people have to just sit there.
They do. You sit there.
3 minutes more. He's going to go more about the dangers of the awning.
Those are town supervisors. That's their job, to sit there and listen. It's unbelievable.
You should never attend.
No.
If you see the movie Papillon.
Oh, my God.
When he was getting off the
great movie.
When he was getting off the prisoner ship in French Guiana on Devil's Island, and they're walking down the gangplank, he threw himself down the gangplank so he could go into the hospital.
Yes.
Because he knew if he went to the prison, he'd be killed. If you're attending a town hall meeting, a city council meeting, on your way up the steps of the courthouse, you need to go full Papillon. Like you get to the top and go, oh, geez, I forgot my headphones. And then just throw yourself down the fucking stairs. You get that scene, Max Zapata. You'll see what every city council member should be doing.
Yeah.
He's walking down that gangplank and he just threw himself down there because he knew he'd end up in the infirmary. Now, he didn't know there's a gay guard in the infirmary. You'd have to deal with that guy.
There's a thing going around. I think it's jokey, but the Rocky Balboa statue should come down because he beat up 3 black men and a communist. Get that fucking statue down.
And an AIDS victim.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. In a street fight.
Let me hit Geico here. Everyone's apart these days. They're sharing more. Geico just wants to say thanks. Thanks for sharing the dance moves and the DIY haircut fails and the inner lip sync star that's in all of us. Geico, it's their turn to share. They're going to do a little give back. 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies, current and new customers, because Geico's committed for the long haul. 15% credit lasts your full policy term. Just go to geico.com/giveback. All right, let's do one more, Gina Grad.
All right. Well, a brewery up in Rhode Island isn't super happy about Tom Brady and the Gronk finding a new home in Tampa Bay. So they've started brewing a new beer. It's called Traderade. It's from Smug Brewing, released the beer, which features a logo that looks like a parody of the Buccaneers' Bucko Bruce. Is that his name? Bucko Bruce logo. But if you want to get yourself some Traderade, that will be available soon, put out by Smug Brewing.
The greatest
They're gonna have a
Bucko Bruce, the Patriot Pad or whatever. The greatest lore story is he always was number 0. And at some point, some fan said to like Bob Kraft, like, why is your guy number 0? Why don't you make him number 1?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay. And they changed it from 0 to 1, and it's right when all the winning began.
Really?
Yeah, it's lore, but it's interesting. It's
like
kind
that.
of like, why are you putting 0 on the guy? You're not zeros. Put a 1 on.
Was
You're
it Cam
number
Newton one?
Cam Newton was one for the Panthers, obviously. So there's no
and his
discrepancy
kid.
there. We got an outro, Gina Grad.
For
Another outro for me.
I'm Gina Grad, and most of that was the news.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
I got a special Q&A. So it's just me answering questions, but I thought it was quite interesting. So that's coming up. If you want to say hi to AJ, Fame is a Bitch. AJ breaks down the scandals and the tragedies of Hollywood. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
Oh, listen. Sorry. Fame is a Bitch every day on Patreon. Also, Politics is a Bitch. I've launched as well.
But you can see him at Instagram at Real AJ Benza.
See me at Ralph's stealing food if you want to really get personal.
I'll be at the Tempe Improv July 2nd and 3rd, not collapsing, but doing a stand-up and doing a live podcast as well. I'm your emotional support animal. Thank you so much for getting that book. Get it and share it. Get the audio, get the hardcover, and leave a review because I read your reviews and I enjoy those. So enjoy that. And, if you're on Amazon, go ahead and get Not Taco Bell Material, my stand-up special. It's sitting there as well. Leave a review and I'll read it and enjoy it. All right, so we're doing a special Q&As coming up next. Until next time, Adam Carolla for Gina Grad, Bald Ryan, and AJ Benza saying mahalo.